I swear to God, I will never vote for the Democrats again.
Wait a minute. I don't agree with that. Defunding the police would be dumb, because then we're going to have more crime.
Deprived people need deprived policies.
I swear to God, I will never vote for the Democrats again. The last time I voted was in 2020 for Bernie Sanders during the primary. And then I sat it out, basically, because, of course, they screwed over the most popular candidate, since the Democratic Party is the undemocratic party, quite ironically. You guys had the easiest job in the world, and you guys still screwed up. Like, it just, like I said, I don't ever want to hear a liberal, I don't ever want to hear a Democrat talk about how we need to fix stuff. They don't fix shit. They don't do anything. All they do is take and take and take, and all they do is ruin shit, basically. That's all they do. And really, they also concede with fascists. That's also what the Democratic Party does. So, like I said, get out of the Democratic Party. If you're in the UK, get out of Labour, get out of these center-left parties. They are the graveyard for progressive values.
I won't talk too much in this intro, but it is now clear to a lot of people that voting Democrats is not the way. They are a bunch of heartless souls who do not value life. Shame on them.
Everyone's telling their walk away from the Democratic Party stories, and here's mine. When Trump was elected in 2016, I literally thought the world was ending. My husband and I would argue I was deranged. My husband had encouraged me to try to do my best to listen to both sides. So for the 2020 election, I made the commitment that I was going to watch the DNC, the RNC, take in as much information that I could about both sides, make a decision from there. First night of the DNC, I was like, okay, let's see what's going on. They came out of the gate, defund the police. Some of you may know, but my husband is a police officer, and I was like, wait a minute, I don't agree with that. Defunding the police would be dumb, because then we're going to have more crime. Then we won't have good police officers. They then started talking about transitioning children, weak border security, free everything for everyone. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. So then I watched the RNC. They were saying how much they love the police, that we need more training for police, that we need more money for police. Leave the kids alone. Tight border security. And I was like, I like this. So then naturally the Don was running, and I started getting a kick out of watching him debate people. Because I was like, man, he really makes these people look like morons. Are they morons? And when he didn't win the election in 2020, I was like, okay. Well, I guess we'll move on with life and see what happens next time. Insert the horrific Afghanistan pullout, the weak border, our economy going to ish, and, the mandatory pokes. Tons of people losing their jobs simply because they didn't want to comply. And that is not something I agree with. And here comes all the pro-choicers. My body, my choice. Yeah, to a certain point. And then it's just... Then our last election was rolling around, and I found myself talking about politics way more than my husband ever did. Because I was like, none of this is common sense. How are people aligning with this? How could anyone vote for Joe Biden? He is not mentally there. Then they had the debate where it was abundantly clear that Joe Biden had no business being out of the basement, let alone running our country. Insert Kamala. And then I was like, no way people are going to vote for this woman. She is an absolute idiot. Of course, you look at it like, they just don't like Trump. There's no way they actually like Kamala. Got it. And just like I've done with the last 2 election cycles, when 2028 rolls around, I will be watching everything and make the best choice for who I most align with. I encourage you to do that as well.
They paint conservatives as barbarians, but celebrate the death of a father of 2 kids. And that was not all she had to say.
I've been dreading making this video because I know I'm gonna get hate comments, especially from the left, and nobody likes hate comments online. I used to proudly call myself a liberal. I still believe in equality, healthcare access, LGBTQ+ rights, definitely science and social programs. But I've grown really tired of the performance, the fear-mongering, and the refusal to have real conversations. I don't want to be here to scream or cancel or shame somebody into agreeing with me. I believe that we need to listen to each other even when we disagree, because change doesn't happen in an echo chamber. I'm not switching sides. I'd say I'm stepping out of the label. I'm an independent, logic-based thinker who's done letting political parties define my humanity. I'm still progressive, but I care more about the truth than tribalism. You can fight for justice without losing your critical thinking. If you want to argue, go talk to somebody else. But if you're ready to listen, then I'm all ears. Not everything needs to be red versus blue. Like, for example, here's some things that I know we can agree on. Our healthcare is broken. You shouldn't go bankrupt just because you got sick in red or blue states. Big corporations, for example, have too much power. They lobby both parties and working people end up paying the price. Veterans and the elderly deserve better care, period, no excuses. Mental health matters. It's not woke to want trauma support, for example, especially for kids and veterans. The middle class is being squeezed by inflation, housing costs, and endless debt, which is just not sustainable. We need civil liberties. Your right to speak, worship, protest, own property, and make personal choices. I think another thing that we could agree on is that we both need to protect democracy, which means fair elections, checks and balances, and yes, accountability for every party. And this is the one that's going to piss you liberals and you Democrats and anybody on the left off. Nobody should be hated for how they voted. Basically, what I mean by that is no one should be sliced for asking questions. I'm not here to hate conservatives. I'm definitely not fucking here to blindly follow liberals. I'm here because I want to bridge the gap and speak truth and hopefully make this country less divided and a hell of a lot smarter. And if that makes me hard to categorize, then good. I just don't want to associate myself with a party that is screaming into the void. I don't want to associate myself with a party who doesn't understand that productive conversations mean something. If you guys really wanted change, you wouldn't be sitting here calling every fucking conservative uneducated idiots. Conservatives are capable of having conversations, and for everybody on the left to accuse them of just being incapable of that, you're not making any changes. You're not going to have productive conversations. All you're going to do is push people more to not understanding your points. If you're trying to come at somebody with something that you know is a fact, don't insult them about it. You say it's hard to have conversations with conservatives, but it's the way that you approach them. And it's associated with the left now. The left is just like these angry fucking people who can't have conversations as far as the conservatives are concerned. I'm not switching parties, but I sure as fuck don't want to be associated with the left anymore. I want to be able to make real change and have real conversations, and I'm not going to get that done by calling myself a liberal.
They lost the support of this woman, whose husband is a police officer, by having a stupid desire to defund the police. Their hypocrisy can no longer hide, as established by this next video.
Hello everybody. I just want to say a really big thank you to Republicans, conservatives, MAGA, independents. You guys have been extremely supportive of my journey. It's been a couple of months since I decided to leave the Democratic Party, and yesterday I decided no more voting Democrat. It really sucks that it took this tragedy for me to get to this point, but because of this tragedy, I'm starting to see the Democrats' true colors, and I was already pretty over it. Their behavior is extremely immature, it's really hateful, and I just wasn't seeing how that was productive in any way. Change doesn't happen in an echo chamber, so I don't know how they expect anything to change if they're yelling and screaming at people, yet they're a party that wants all of this change. But if they can't communicate with anybody, then... So I just want to say thank you guys. It's been a weird transition because it feels like I'm leaving all of my old beliefs behind, but I realized that I am not doing that. I don't need to do that. I can still stand strong on what I believe in and my values and what I want for this country. It's just the Democrats make you feel like if you leave the party, then you're a bad person who doesn't support the LGBTQ community, who doesn't support BLM, who doesn't support legal immigrants. They make you feel like if you leave, you're a racist, you're a homophobe, you're a bigot. You can't question them on anything, or you're automatically all of those things. Leaving this party has been a great decision, and I'm so thankful for all of you for sticking by my side through this. I've made a couple of videos about what happened the other day already, but I just want to say again, rest in peace, and I am sending family and friends my best wishes. Stay safe, everybody. Times are getting a little bit crazy right now.
On behalf of us all, I saw, welcome to the light, because in the dark, most of these people's problem is fully made up of delusions.
Here's the thing about the Democrat Party. Deprived people need deprived policies. So notice who's left voting Democrat. Rainbow cult gays who think they're oppressed. Minorities who think they're oppressed and also want to collect checks from the government. Upper middle class CNN watching boomers who want to feel better about themselves. Celebrities who don't even wipe their own butts who also want to feel better about themselves, like, I'm helping the poors. And comment any categories that I missed, but notice that they all have something in common. They all feel deprived. I need this, I want that, this needs to change. The Constitution is racist. We need to open up the borders for the third world. We need to make sure kids can have access to cut off their healthy organs. We need universal health care. Take more money from the rich. Take it, take it. And when you break free from a deprived mindset and start taking advantage of being in one of the greatest countries in the world, you stop voting Democrat. That's what I did.
Honestly, there has got to be some type of crack in the water that liberals drink.
I'm in my car for the last hour or so, just trying to process the last couple of days. And forgive me if I don't have the energy. It has been really troubling. I just came here to announce my official divorce from the Democratic Party. And you're talking to a guy who's been voted Democrat since I was 18 years old. Up until recently, I've been changing how I vote, but still carrying the label, you know. I'm the type of guy who doesn't jump ship. I try to be the voice of reason within the ship to try to steer it back to a true north. But this party has lost its way. The Democratic Party, let's be honest, has become demonic and barbaric. And I, as a Christian, can't be a part of that anymore. Look, I'm a proud and beautiful Black man. I love being Black. I love my skin, everything that comes with it. I was a proud Democrat. I remember they used to stand for the right thing. But before I'm beautifully Black, before I am a member of any party, I'm a born-again Christian. I'm a born-again Christian, and the Democratic Party right now doesn't represent my values, my ethics.
A good Christian will always value life.
This Charlie Kirk thing kind of put the nail in the coffin of me being a Democrat. I was slowly moving away from it anyway because I was noticing certain things, but I'm not a Democrat, and I'm not a Republican either, but I'm not a Democrat. And I just noticed, like, certain things, like the way that the conversation would be shut down by calling somebody a name or calling somebody a bigot. It's like, okay, and why am I a bigot just because I disagree with you? Like, I can disagree with you and still not want anything bad for you. I just disagree. And it's like, you know, oh, you're personally committing violence against me if you disagree. It's like, that's a cop-out. And I would notice certain things like that. I would notice that I was being intentionally angered every 4 years so that I would go out and vote. It would be a new token thing to, like, get behind. Oh, if you don't vote this year, this thing is going to happen and everything's going to be taken away. But then the next year, none of those things would happen. So I was just being gaslit every single time. And it's crazy because, like, I didn't recognize it. But, you know, as I started to just see it, I started to see how, like, it's one thing to believe in something. It's another thing to tell somebody they're bad if they don't, especially if the view is wacky, crazy, and all the way out there. You know, canceling somebody for something that they did when they was 8 years old, for something that they said when they was 8 years old, and that thing won't even a slur back then. It's like, what do we, like, do? Like, people can't grow, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's a way to keep people in control. And if you don't think exactly how I think, if you ever step in line, I can just, like, you know, take away, you know what I'm trying to say? And it was just very controlling, but just very evil. And, like, the moral superiority, the moral high horse, and the performative activism was crazy. Like, oh, we are so oppressed, and go, like, ride the Starbucks. It's like, there's actually people that are in different countries, and, like, that's very disrespectful to them to say that you're oppressed like that. Like, you know, I would debate people down. And here's the thing, I had to come to realization that, like, I would go online to see what I should feel about a subject instead of actually saying what I did feel about the subject, to see what they were saying, and I would hop on it. And I had to be honest, I was hopping on bandwagons. And yes, it was when I was younger, but as I just grew older, I'm like, this not it. And finally, when it comes to the death of somebody, it's like, it doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter what they think. Nobody deserves that. I could see if you just heard about it, but you saw it on camera and you still saying you ain't sad about it. That's like, your humanity is now lost. Like, politics is making like some of them crazy. And that's why I was just like, oh, y'all are drinking Kool-Aid right now. And I'm not going to drink that. Like, I'm going to just walk off. And that's one of the reasons why. And it's the nail in the coffin, because if you are so politicked out that you cannot cry when somebody unalive, you're not as moral as you think you are. Sorry.
It is so wild that they still think they have a moral high ground to stand on. Also very sad that it took such a tragic event to listen to what we already know to be common logic. Lastly, R.I.P. Charlie Kirk, you didn't deserve it.